Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV, where we believe that everyone has the potential to be a giant in their own world. Hang tight, because in this episode, you'll learn how to transform you. So, this is a show you're not going to want to miss. It's time to embrace and wake up the inner giant. Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I am Ryan Morris, the co-creator of Wake Up with Giants TV, a tribe of giants, and 12 Journeys coaching program. And I'm here with the one and only Nicholas T. Smith, the author of The Giants and the Smalls. You don't even get to introduce yourself. I'm going to just introduce you for you. And soon to be,
my twin brother over here. Like,
we should all be twins.
Yeah, Matt Smith. Which one's which? One of these kids is not like the other. One of these kids is doing his own thing.
But he also wrote The Tortoise's Hair, which we are doing a Kickstarter for. You can go to tortoiseshair.com. What's this? There it is right there, just in case you don't know how to spell tortoise, because I realized I didn't know how to spell tortoise as well as I thought I did in the beginning.
Come down here and click every single perk. So if you buy every single perk, that would be incredible. All the way up to $10,000.
Just one of each. That's all we're asking.
Yeah, just one of each. Nothing big. Whatever you can do, but one of each, right?
We are only $800 short of our halfway goal.
Yeah,
we have $1,000 banked on the side that was donated, and outside of the Indiegogo, and so we're at $4,210. And how many days are left, Nick?
Oh, a lot. 52 days.
Yeah. So we feel like we're doing decent on that. So
that's compared exciting. To our last Kickstarters, it's moving along. This ain't no albatross.
This is not an albatross this time. We added a $20 ebook and a 2-book $55 package, just so that it was a little bit easier for people to give if they wanted to give, because we kind of went from $30 to $10,000. So you had one choice or the other kind of a deal. So,
if you're building a bridge, you want to have the longest gap possible.
Yeah. So we did it. But that was happening. What else do we have going on? We've got
oh my gosh, man. If you haven't been to our calendar on giantsandsmalls.com, I'm going to pull this up here too.
We probably should pull that up.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much on there. So this is our calendar right now. And so if you want to see what we're up to, go to giantsandsmalls.com. This is where it gets long, /Giants-events. I was going to add more to it. So maybe we'll put that in here, but or go to giantsandsmalls.com and click the events button at the top up here.
There's Matt Smith right there. He's here today.
He's this guy. He's right there. Yeah. So you'll see everything we're up to, and it's a lot. We've got LG trainings, which is Limitless Giant. We have SG trainings coming up. We're training facilitators for SG right now. We're doing what are called instructional book readings. So if you want to host a book reading for your group or friends or family, we come in and we read the book, The Giants and the Smalls, and then we teach you the 12 journeys and open up to discussion. It's really powerful. If you're not a member of the Tribe of Giants, you can also do that, because that's where we're promoting trainings. So we've got another training this Monday at 8 p.m. And then for heaven's sake, go join our newsletter, right here at the top. Just click that. Or when you come into Giants and Smalls, it's right in your face, so you can't miss it. So just hit that button and sign up.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm on the calendar. I think it's at 7:30 on Monday.
Oh yeah. So my time's off.
Nick, don't show up at 8.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, where did everybody go?
They're all on the calendar. You're not.
I'm the only one that doesn't look.
The newsletter is a great place to sign up. It's free and easy, giantsandsmalls.com. But without further ado, we want to introduce our guests because I feel like that there's going to be a tidal wave, a tsunami of amazing information and nuggets in this episode. He is one of my favorite humans on the planet. So, Nick, will you introduce our guest?
Only if he shows his
Yeah,
shirt, man. We
got
got
giant
matching
shirts
shirts
on.
today. I am a
We're
giant.
giants.
All right. We've got Matt Smith. He's a multi-talented adventurer, international coach, speaker, and author who is passionate about ending unnecessary suffering by empowering people to liberate themselves from within. As a dedicated father, Matt understands the importance of joy and connection in living a fulfilling life. And with his powerful conversations and inspiring message, he helps people transform their lives one conversation at a time. He firmly believes that regardless of race, religion, background, or circumstance, anyone can create the life and experiences they desire. His wisdom and insights on personal growth and self-discovery are invaluable, making him one of the most inspiring coaches of our time. So don't miss this opportunity to learn from Matt. Join us as we journey through this transformation. So, Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's good to have you.
I'm blessed, honestly. To be here with you, I'm speechless. Like if you follow me, it's very rare that Matt Smith is speechless. But the fact that you guys reach out and wanted me on your show, you could have had anybody in the world on today, and you chose me, and that means a lot. So I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you. We love you, brother.
So much love for Matt Smith.
Across the pond, you say pond, but it really is an ocean. Can we be clear about that?
It makes it sound like it's a little puddle of
a little skip, right?
It's all about perspective, right? Close, it's an ocean, but from up there, tiny.
I grew up, with a pond on our property, and it's not that, but I love it. Let's dive in, man. Let's go back in time with Matt Smith. Let's really look at what we really like to explore is in our 12 journeys that we train. We go into the root journeys first, and we always start there because that's where our development happens. It's where we decide who we are. It's what's handed to us. I grew up in a large family. I'm number 9 of 11 kids, and so we were really poor. And I got hand-me-downs, right? And for a lot of us, we come into this life and we get handed these quote unquote hand-me-downs, right? And then from there, we start to develop ourselves from our own experiences, and we kind of put those on around whatever style was given to us when we were younger. Does that bring up a start point for you of who you maybe thought you were at one point, maybe less powerful than you are today? Can we start there? Is there some place or point you want to pick up?
Yeah, for sure. That, like, now with my awareness, that totally resonates. If you'd have said to me, does that resonate with you pre 20 nearly 9 years, so 2014, I would have been like, I don't know what you're talking about. And what I mean by that is I believed at that point, on a conscious level, not subconscious, but on a conscious level, that I was like God's gift to everything, right? That's what I believed. And I had this desire and this drive for success. And I was going to get everything and achieve everything and have it all. And then I did create that. I built up a personal training business quite quickly to quite a big level. It was at the time, one of the biggest in the UK. We had in-person stuff, group stuff, online stuff, men's groups, women's groups. We had staff. It was a good thing. And at the time I had a beautiful family, my partner and I, and we had a little boy, little girl on the way, had everything, big house, shiny car, all the labels on clothes and watches, and had it all, right? But it wasn't enough. Something inside of me was saying, it's not enough. You need more. You need more. And then in this chasing more, my world just crumbled down around me. I made a few decisions inside of my business going to take it to the next level, and essentially lost it all. Went down to pretty much zero with everything around 2000 and it was November 2014. And then I started telling myself the story that I'm not good enough and people would be better off without me. And this story took root inside of me and it became bigger and bigger. And I couldn't see anything else other than people will be better off without me. And that story started from when the bank messaged me saying insufficient funds available to pay bills at the end of the month. So I couldn't even put food on the table for my family, right? And so because I always also have this part of me that just cares for other people and wants the best for other people, I'm telling this story that people will be better off without me, and I want the best for people. So if people will be better off without me and I want the best for people, I just take myself out of the equation. And the story got so big one night and it got so strong one night, this story of people will be better off without me, this thought. And so I was left with a couple of really loyal PT clients at this time, and it was a November evening, about 9 o'clock at night, and I remember getting my phone out. I was gonna drive home, but I was like, I can't even go home. So I got my phone out and I texted my partner at the time. I texted her 3 things. I'm not coming home. You guys are better off without me. Tell Jude I love him, and Jude's my boy, my son. And I threw my phone in the footwell, and I was like, right, I'm gonna go and end it and take myself out of the equation because people are better off without me. And long story short, I was driving down a road. I don't know if goosebumps are being picked up on the camera or not, but I get it I've told this story so many times, but I get it every time. And I was driving down this long road thinking, how am I going to end it? I could go off a bridge and into a river, but someone might see me and save me. I could go into a tree, but then I might get thrown from the car and land in a soft bush, but that won't do it. So I thought, okay, I'll drive head on into a lorry without my seatbelt on. That'll do it. So on this long straight road, a lorry, is like a truck in America, for if you don't know what that is, but I'm sure you do. And I'm driving down this dark road, long straight road. I remember it like it was yesterday, and these lights were in front of me, and I knew it was a big truck because the lights were on the trailer at the top, as well as the headlights on the front. Pulled into his lane, driving towards it. He's flashing me, getting closer and closer, and something at the very last minute made me pull out of the way. And it got like goosebumps all over my body. I don't know if they're showing up or not, but they were all over my body. So it made me pull out of the way. And I pulled over and I just broke down in tears, in absolute tears. And then eventually I grabbed my phone and saw all the missed calls and the messages from family and my partner. And it was still like, she was still calling me, my partner at the time. So I answered the phone. She said, come home. So I did. And we had a good talk. And she said something to me that will stay with me forever, which was something along the lines of, you're trying to be something you're not. You just got to be you. Stop trying to be something you're not. And because I'd lost myself in this world of glitz and glamour and shiny stuff and more, and the external world meaning so much, I'd lost who I was in all of that, in social media and what life looks like and all of this. I lost myself in it. So I was like, I don't even know who I am. But the next morning, I decided to do what I called the 20,000 day challenge. The reason I called it the 20,000 day challenge is because I worked out that the average age male in the UK is about 76. I took my age away from that, divided by 365, which gave me about 20,000 days left to live. And I was like, right, you hear these 7-day challenges everywhere and 30-day challenges. And I did all these in my PT business at the time, these 7-day and 28-day challenges. I was like, what if I did a 20,000 day challenge where every day I just be the best version of me that I can be? And I just commit to that. And that just started a whole spiral of events, people coming into my life like mentors and guides and gurus and books and all of these things that helped me uncover these stories that I'd picked up that I didn't even realize were there through childhood and growth from situations and circumstances with parents or teachers. And it'd be the tiniest little thing where I'd be, I don't know, playing football with dad, and he'd be like, oh, that's not good enough. And as a kid, my brain just went, oh, that's not good enough. And I did that, which means I'm not good enough. And I didn't realize this seed was inside me the whole time, even though I'm going to be successful and have all the stuff that was there. But what was underneath it was this story and this thought and this belief that we're not good enough. So I had to go in and pull that root out and do the work there first. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, we're going to hang here for a minute, because the root journeys that we talk about are the most challenging and the most healing in everything that we do. The growth journeys are fun and exciting. People will go through our programs and come through the root journeys and they'll be like, that sucked. I've had people tell me to F off through those journeys because it's so hard. One person said F you and then later said thank you. So we created a shirt that says FUTU on it. And it's the idea there is that this is where the healing really starts. I don't know if it froze there. My screen froze on me.
It's catching up. We can hear you. I can hear you, but it's catching up.
Okay. Yeah, I want to pause with it because it's the healing really occurs in that non-conscious space. Somebody, mentioned that the non-conscious is like a sleeping giant. I mean, in my book, The Giants and the Smalls, I talk about a world that's so big it would make our earth look like a single grain of sand, right? And our non-conscious mind is like that. It's just so vast that we can put anything into it and it will automate and program anything we want, right? And so the idea here is that when you wake up to that and you've programmed in all these negative thoughts and behaviors and emotions, and you wake up to that and your conscious mind, which is a smaller portion of it, experiences that, we see people move into an awareness, not of neutrality and acceptance and compassion. They move like you did into an awareness of shame and blame and judgment and depression and anxiety, not even sadness or grief. They move into the heavy, heavy emotions of there's no hope anywhere, right? So I want to hang on this for a minute so that people can realize, like, there's a lot at play that's been programmed in that we think we are something, and it was put there when we were young, like you said, playing with my dad, and you're not good enough, and then you carry that forward, and that becomes the CEO of your life, right? You don't even know it's there. What does that bring up as you hear that?
Just truth. Like we don't even realize it's there. And I have it's not my phrase. It comes from a book a couple of thousand years ago, but and I like the phrase of as within, so without. And as much as I was doing stuff in the outside world to make it look a certain way, as within, so without will always be created. It'll always come back to that. And my outside world of everything crumbling down around me just reflected back what was actually going on inside. So the world was just a mirror for me to go, oh, I'm the cause of this. I caused this. So I go back to let's put myself under the microscope and investigate, like, what would have caused that? What belief, what thought, what seed, what story did I pick up that's caused this?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it totally resonates.
Have you seen the movie Moana?
Yeah.
You know the big crab that has all the things? It's
my kids, when they annoy me, they start singing that song Shiny, and they know that it gets it. They're like Shiny, and I'm like, no, stop. But yeah,
Shiny.
I know crab.
Yeah, that's what we do, is we're constantly in the state of external locus of identity, external locus of control. And so we're just constantly trying to grab something out here to make us feel better. And like you said earlier, it's not enough. Like, it's never enough, because the journey within is where the power happens. That's where life becomes satisfying as well. But we start to have enough in our world. It's good enough, right? But when you're in that state like Shiny, it's never enough. There is no way to fill the void.
Nope.
Yeah,
so true.
Let's talk about waking up. So when people get into the space of waking up, because there's nothing to do when you're unconscious. When you're non-conscious, well, one, if you're unconscious, you're probably knocked out. If you're non-conscious, it's a state above that. So you're not knocked out, but you're also not conscious to what's going on in your world. So when you're in that non-conscious state and your world's running, and you come to awareness, right? In that awareness, when you give yourself a little bit of room, like your partner at the time says, hey, stop trying to be everything else, be you. Well, that gives you a little room to be you, but there was something you said about a commitment, a 20,000 day commitment, or 20,000 day commitment to be something. Talk to me about the power of commitment, because emotionally you might not be feeling or motivated like I want to do that. But tell me a distinction between commitment and motivation, right? If we were to put that in play here, is motivation is, oh, if I feel like it, I'll do it. And then there's commitment. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of just answered it there, as the motivation is based off of the feelings, whereas commitment is just a choice. I'm just going to choose. I'm making this choice rather than, I don't feel like it today, and letting feelings dictate.
I know Matt Smith works out. I know Matt Smith is known for his beautiful body. He looks good without a shirt on, ladies. Trust me. And but do you always feel like going to the gym, Matt?
I remember I remember that day when I was like, right, 20,000 day challenge, I'm gonna be the best version of me that I can be. I need to get back to the gym, because at the time I'd stopped going to the gym. I was running a PT business, but I wasn't even doing it myself, right? I was just swamped with life and everything. And so I hadn't trained for, I think, at least a year. And I'd just been sat down trying to run this business. And I was like, right, get back into the gym. And that was the hardest workout I've ever done in my entire life. And all I did was what is now my 8 to 10 minute warm up. And it took me an hour to do what I now do. And that's not, hey, check me out and how fit I am. That's how hard that was and how much I didn't want to be there. The whole drive to the gym, which at the time was about a 30-minute drive, my head was going, we don't need to do this. We can just go home. We can go tomorrow. We're not feeling it today. Let's just do it tomorrow. My head, all this, no. Let's not do it. We're not feeling it. We're not feeling it. We're not feeling it. And when I got to the gym, it's like, we don't need to do this. We're not feeling it. And I tried to look for excuses all the time. That treadmill's busy, or that's busy. And I just put myself in the dojo and I got down on hands and knees and started doing a little bit of yoga stuff. And it just hurt. And it was hard. And my head thought, well, we could just stop. Nobody will know. We could just stop. But because I was committed, it was being done. Because I made a choice. And I don't want to say the word decision. I'm moving away from that word at the moment. But that's a different story for another day. But in that decision, in that choice, in that commitment, it was being done.
I want to create a distinction with that word. Go ahead and finish out decision versus choice.
Yeah.
But if there's more to share, go ahead and finish and I'll come back to it.
No, I think that's it. I mean, yeah, just off what you said, Ryan, there are days where I just don't feel it. And what I'll also do as well is, if I don't go, it's from a conscious choice to not go, because I feel it's the best thing for me in that moment to rest, to refuel, to chill, versus, oh, I'm just going to go and do it anyway. That doesn't ever work for me. If I ever go and do that, I'm going to do it anyway, even though my highest and best is saying you need to rest. If I try and override that, they're the worst workouts.
So let's talk about decision and choice, and then we're going to come back to commitment on this. So decision, decidere, to cut off, right? To cut off. And choice is to move forward, right? It's to choose, to bring it in. And so one is cutting off and the other is bringing in. And that's where the distinction comes in, is, oh, people say, oh, I made a decision. Well, good. What did you cut off? Versus, oh, you made a choice. Oh, I brought something into my world that I wanted to bring in. And does that resonate with you as far as that definition?
That's why, because I used to decide on things, but then it got brought into my awareness around this word and the etymology. Because I'm like you, I'm a massive geek with words and the etymology and the meaning and the connotations.
Well,
and that's what I heard. So,
and we can come up with our own definitions too, our operational definitions around the words too. And as long as we all understand it that way, then it works. But it's used in modern language with the idea of choice. People say, I decided to do that. Well, but really going into the root of the words, it's you chose to do that. You're bringing it into your space. When we go back to commitment, right? The commitment, you hit on something about the emotions. Commitment is going before you have the emotions. It's going regardless of the emotions. Emotions tend to flow in the process of thoughts, emotions, and then actions, right?
Uh-huh.
Usually always in that order. And you'll have something in your internal environment or external environment that triggers, and then you have a thought, and that thought generates the emotion, never the other way around. Now, the emotion might trigger more thoughts
Mm.
because of the original thought, right?
Yeah.
Now you start thinking about the thinking. But the idea here is that motivation is the emotion. It's like you've already had the thought, and then you're not motivated. So you're already having the emotion, which is a shutdown energy. And so your actions are in line with that. And you're waiting for it to be the thought that brings you the upside energy so that you can act on that. And commitment is beyond that. It's like, I don't care what I'm feeling, right? I'm going
Uh-huh.
from thought to action,
Uh-huh.
regardless of the emotion,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
How important is that for somebody that's going through really intense emotions? So, if we talk about what you just shared, um, which for those that are watching this, if you struggle with thoughts of that, um, first question we want to ask you is, are you safe from yourself? Are you safe? Right.
Yeah.
And then how can you get support? So, we don't have the suicide hotline up here, but if you need support, that's a great resource to go to, or a confidant, a therapist, somebody that you can talk to about that. But when somebody's in that space, right, that deep depressed state, loss of hope, complete despair, world's better off without me, those emotions are running.
Uh-huh.
How important is commitment for somebody that's in that space that wakes up into that,
Mm.
right, and wants to transform their life, but the emotions are so intense that they almost not get out of bed in the morning? What would you share with them, maybe from your own experiences around how to navigate that?
So the first thing I feel called to say is practice holding space for your emotions
Hmm.
now. Like practice now. Like if you're in an okay space now, don't wait until it gets that bad to then go, oh, now I need to do the work on it, from someone who's experienced that and been there and gone through it. And still has, like, I mean, I'm human, so I still have those emotions come up now and again. But because I've practiced being a space for my emotions now, and I use the analogy of like a smoke alarm. There's one up there, right? The smoke alarm going off.
Hmm.
But the smoke alarm will only go off if the, where am I? I'm in a mirror. If the toaster is burning in the toast, right?
Yep.
And the analogy I use is depression or feelings are the smoke alarm.
Hmm.
This whoop 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 going off. Now, if I go and try and put something over that, if I put a sock over it or something and stop the whoop whoop, that might stop, but the toast is still going to burn, and then the whole place is going to burn down because I've suppressed what's really going on. For me, the feelings, if I'm feeling anything other than peace and joy and love and abundance, if I'm not feeling those things, that's just a smoke alarm that says you got to go and investigate where the
Hmm.
fire is, because there's something going on.
Beautiful analogy. Yeah. Keep going.
So, and I had this with somebody yesterday. They came to me yesterday and they're like, I'm all over the place. I'm in a really bad place. I'm trying to come off antidepressants. Um, and I'm in this really bad space, and I'm thinking I should probably go back on the antidepressants. I'm like, cool, I hear you. Have you sat with all of these feelings that are going on for you, or is it that before, when the feelings started to go on, the alarm was going off, you just suppressed it with something and you pushed it down? Like,
Hmm.
oh no, that's where I went straight away. As soon as the alarm was going off, I was like, antidepressants, push them down. I was like, and I didn't, like, I'm not prescribing anything to anybody on with what I'm saying. I'm not, everyone's different, and I'm not prescribing anything. Always go and seek help from a medical professional. But in that moment, I was like, let's just sit and just have whatever wants to come up, come up. You're in a safe space. We were in a safe space. She trusts me. We built up that
Yeah.
connection, rapport, and trust. We held space for her, and stuff came up for her, and feelings came, and thoughts came up. And all she was doing was telling this story of things she'd done in the past where it's bad and it's caused this situation, and it was going to get worse going forwards.
Yeah.
I was like, right, let's just stay here. The smoke alarm's going off, but let's go and try and find where the fire is. And it's just the thoughts of, oh, if I continue this way, this will happen, that'll happen. And it was always a downward spiral. It was never good things that were going to happen in her mind. So I was like, right, let's just investigate those thoughts and stories while holding space for the feelings.
Hmm.
20 minutes later, she's fine and she's calm and she's cool.
Beautiful. Yeah. I think it was Gabor Mate that said that trauma is ungrieved grief. And you look at things like borderline personality disorder and other intense mental illnesses where it started with trauma. And you look at addictions where people move into addiction because these emotions are so intense. They didn't know how to manage that. Perhaps maybe I'm off here and somebody can help clarify. And then it became this thing that became routine where now you not only are not facing the thoughts and emotions, but now you've got this other thing that's adding to those emotions, right? Then you get stuck in this spiral. And to really slow down with the intensity of the experience. And it does, sometimes it takes that professional to sit with you to really work through that together. I love the work of Richard Schwartz or Carl Rogers, right? Where they really take that humanistic approach and allow people to speak and talk to these parts of them that are injured. But sometimes people can't even get there because their emotions are so out of whack that they can't even access the thinking or the sitting with or holding vulnerability or space for whatever's going on. And that's where medications do help soften that blow, right? To where they can sit with it, but they still have to do the work. Right. The medications aren't meant to take away. Go ahead. Did that bring up something?
It's only my personal thing. I hear what you're saying with the medication thing. I definitely hear that. And again, I'm not prescribing anything or saying you should or shouldn't do anything. From experience, if people can let them, like you said, with the safety thing, if people can get themselves into a safe space, whether it's your bedroom, just into a safe space, and just let yourself feel what wants to come up. Just sit with yourself and just know that whatever feeling is there that wants to come up is not bigger than you. It might have been bigger than your parents when you were younger and they said, stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about, or whatever they might have said that made you then interpret, oh, this emotion's a bad thing. It's bigger than me. It's not safe to have this emotion. Just know that as a human being, if the feeling and emotion's there, it's inside of you, which means you're bigger than it.
So I've got a thought around that. I have a challenging view to that a little bit. So and the only reason that I do is because that is where the healing happens. What you just described is where the healing happens. If you could sit with the feelings and sit with the emotions and the thoughts and really hold space for it. And if you can't do it alone, do it with somebody else. But there are people that can't access even that, right? Like to me, it's the idea of I have a headache, a little bit of ibuprofen or Tylenol might take the edge off. Right. So that I can get my mind back and start doing some things. So I could see both sides of this though. I could see how doing that work might alleviate it. I can also see how people's emotions take over and they haven't maybe learned the tools or resources necessary for them to soften that blow. And so that's one tool in the toolbox that helps soften the energy so that they can do the work that you just described. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I'm not opposed to what you just shared. I just think there are times where, and I've seen people with really extreme mental illness where they can't access what you just described, right?
Yeah.
Without the help of something, some assistance, right? You know, Al that's on the screen there talks about addiction, and there are people that go through that addictive process. And I don't know what that's like. I've never been addicted to anything. I can't speak for somebody about addiction because I've never been there, but I have a sense of what it might feel like, but that's all I have, right? That you face these intense emotions and you try and soften these emotions, but the thing you try and soften it with ends up being the thing you get hooked on. And then it causes its own set of issues. And now you're stuck in this cycle. And partly your mental challenges are going on, but also physiologically, your body's producing these chemicals. What a mess to be in, right?
Yeah.
And what would you offer to somebody that's maybe stuck in that space? How do you break free? How do you transform you in that situation? Does that make sense?
100% it makes sense. And I can only speak from personal experience with me and the people that I've worked with. Again, I'm not a registered medical professional. So for some people, yes, pills, powders and potions might work so that they're able to then do the best next step for them. For me, is not trying to fix it, is not trying to alleviate it. It's not trying to heal it. It's not trying to do something to get to the other side of it. The way out is through. The way out is being with, for me, from experience.
No, I agree with this.
It's being with it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in this situation with you now and there's a part of me that feels uncomfortable because you're not going, yes, Matt, you're right, here is some validation, well done, and
Yeah.
I'm going, how do I get out of this situation to the next one? It's
Yeah.
even more uncomfortable. But if I can just be okay with what's going on inside of me, like right at the start I was nervous as hell, or I felt nervous. I felt it, and guys were talking in the intro thing and I felt the nerves, but I didn't go, I'm really nervous, I'm going to screw this up. I'm like, cool, I'm feeling nervous right now, I'm going to sit with those nerves and remind myself that I'm okay and everything is fine. And I'm
Yeah.
going to have, again, tools and practice.
Yeah.
I
I
have
like
tools
that.
of being with myself and just loving what is, and just being with it. Whether it's
Yeah.
depression, anger, anxiety, it's like, cool, I'm going to be with it. I had a session with a guy yesterday. It was a group session, and he was the first one in the group. And I said, hey, how you doing? Just like small talk. And he was like, I woke up choking the other night, and I've been to the doctors and they can't find anything or do anything. And he was talking about choking. And in that moment, because when I was present with him, what came through was ask him if he's ever heard of floating anxiety. And I said, have you ever heard of floating anxiety? And he kind of went, like bumbled a little bit. And then he always has his phone on the desk in the group session. He picked up his phone, he looked at his phone, and it was a message from his auntie who lives in Australia, who just before she was drifting off to sleep said, it's popped into my mind. Have you ever heard about floating anxiety? And so what we did is we sat with that with him. And I was like, right, let's just sit with this. So for me, anxiety is you're thinking about something in the future that you don't want to happen and you're worried about, and you're creating that over in the future.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
sat with him. I was like, hey, what's your fear? He's like, fear is this situation going wrong. I was like, what would that lead to? I'll probably lose my job. I'm like, cool. Can we just sit in that space with that fear of losing your job? Not that we're going to create. Can we just sit in that and just hold space for the part of you that fears losing the job because of what it might make it mean? And we sat with it, and anxiety gone.
That Barry McDonough talks about that in his work. He talks about the moment you face your anxiety and allow it, it often dissolves on its own just by the nature of being with it, right?
Yep.
And the power that you talk about, the power to transform you, really comes back to that. And what we're trying to teach people is not to lean on somebody. It's not like Matt now becomes the powder, potion, or pill, because that could happen too. It's like, I can't do anything because I need my Matt in my life, or I need my therapist in my life. I can't do anything for myself. I need them. And it's also not shameful to be in that space where you do need them, right? But the idea here is to learn these tools for yourself so that you can start to do them on your own. So that, if Matt goes away or something happens, he's not available, not around, and you have a situation, you're able to self-soothe. You're able to hold that space for yourself. You're able to be self-compassionate, self-empathetic, right? To have empathy for your own parts. We often think of empathy as out here, but what about empathy for your own self and being able to sit with that? And that's what I hear when you're speaking, Matt. And you have a much more soothing voice than I do when it comes to this, is that you hold space for people to practice that, right? That practice of being with and holding space for their emotions, thoughts,
I
and
just got
whatever actions,
like
right?
a visual to that, Nick, to like
Yeah.
what you were talking about. Is like a dad that's little kid that just gets his first, his bike with no training wheels.
Yeah.
Right? They've taken the training wheels off. It's like, okay, ride this bike. And that's kind of like, if you've never done this work, if you don't know how to do it, you'll tip over and fall and go right back to putting back the training wheels on and the self-soothing or whatever, excuse me, the numbing. And I just saw dad like holding the back of the seat of the bike, and that would be like a Matt Smith. It's like, okay, like I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to practice together until you can do it on your own. And let me show you how to do it, giving you the tools and coaching you along, and so you can do it, building you back up to where you can get your head back and then start practicing. It's a practice.
I love this because I just thought of the book, right? When he says, I'll teach you how to become a giant. I'll teach you what I know, but becoming a giant is up to you, right? It's that idea, Ryan, like you just said, the dad's holding the seat for a minute. I remember this with my kids, right? Same thing. but the idea is I'll teach you how to be a giant, but becoming a giant is up to you, right? I'll teach you how to ride a bike, but riding a bike is up to you. That's the power of what we're doing. Is I can't live anybody else's life for them. I can't go to the gym and give you my muscles. It just doesn't work that way, right? And Matt, what I love about the work that you do is your ability to, because of your experiences too, to sit with somebody in complete vulnerability and trust that no matter what comes up, there's space for it.
Always. Always. With the awareness of it. I think, was it Ram Dass that says we are the awareness of everything? I don't know if that's a truth or not, but I know that everything fits into my awareness. Even the entire universe, I can go and see a picture, the zoom out ones on YouTube that they do of this is your Earth and the thing. If all of it can fit into my awareness, it means I'm bigger than all of it. So I don't need to fear anything. Like, it's not even like I'm whatever a giant is, like the giant is giant. Like, it's the biggest thing in the universe. Everything fits into my awareness, including the feelings that I don't like feeling of somebody else.
Right.
What's that?
Steve Hardison said, "There's nothing that you can ask that's bigger than me."
Yeah.
Is exactly that what you just described.
Well, the amazing thing right there, Ryan, too, is that there really is nothing bigger than any of us. There's this vortex, right? This 0 point between our mind and reality out here and our conscious mind and reality in here, right? The vastness of both directions, it's like a funnel, right? Going out this way and going in this way. Is the world in here is as big as the world out here. Like the universe, if they expanded out all the way that they could see in the universe, they would see infinitely. And you almost have that here, like the 86 billion neurons, the 85 billion glial cells, the limitless capacity for understanding and learning, right? There's a giant within there. But that giant has this tiny little gatekeeper called self that gets in the way and says, hold up, dude, or dudette, however you want to do that. You're not going anywhere, because remember this time? And it's got this freaking giant on a tether, guiding it around like this is who you are. But there's a giant there. It's like the elephants at the circus. How did you train the elephant to stay on a rope on a chair? Well, we taught it when it was young, right? We put it on a chain, and then we move that chain to a rope, and then we move that rope to a chair, and it won't go anywhere. That's what we do to ourselves. We have this little tiny character leading a giant, right? And what you're offering is for that little character to set the rope down for a minute, to set down the guards and protections, and allow the giant to come through, right? What does that bring up for you as far as thoughts and thoughts? Mainly.
Just from
Emotions.
conversations with a lot of people, is they are unaware that they have that giant inside of them, and they're unaware that it's their nervous system trauma in a child, self, fear, ego that's running the show. They're just unaware of it.
Right.
Brain trying to fix or save yourself and keep you safe, that kind of thing.
It's all about just trying to keep us safe. That's what we're designed to do, or the ego is designed to do, just to keep us safe. Whereas our soul, in my opinion, or just us, is designed for expansion and growth and evolution. If we're in alignment with the universe, it's always expanding. We know we're out of alignment with the universe when we're not expanding, and that's when the feelings that we don't want can come in.
I picture the chrysalis, the caterpillar, the chrysalis, the butterfly. The caterpillar, maybe it's oblivious to it. It just knows what it needs to do, and it goes into the chrysalis and it comes out. It's no big deal. And we make it a big deal because we're humans. We're like, hey, my life's not like that. I go into the chrysalis and I'm falling apart. Right.
Yeah.
But we put this, I don't know if you call it amorphic or whatever we do. We put human characteristics on animals and creatures so that we can understand ourselves better. But the idea of a caterpillar and a butterfly is that here's this caterpillar that's one form, goes into the chrysalis, completely dissolves, comes back as another form. And that chrysalis is kind of that in-between point of our old lives and our new lives, right? Of what's possible and what we used to be. And many of us get stuck in the chrysalis, right? We go in and we start the work of transformation, but we stay there and we're spun up in our thoughts. So we never fully mold into what's possible because we're so stuck in our emotions, thoughts, and actions from that old life and a rumination about it.
And I think that's where that commitment and choice really plays a part. It's that no matter what happens, I'm going to be the best version of me, no matter what shows up, even if I need to stay in bed for 3 days, because that's just what my system needs.
Right.
In the healing process, because sometimes it needs that. Sometimes we go into a season of winter. Like we've done the autumn or the fall where the dead stuff the old got, and we just need to be in our winter.
Yeah.
So and that winter might last for half an hour, and you might go, no, I'm going to be on my own for or it might be 3 days, or some people are going through it for quite a while at the moment.
Yeah.
But spring's on the other side. Spring, again, with alignment with the universe, seasons, spring is always on the other side.
Yeah.
Always on the other side.
And I don't know anybody that will not have some form of winter. And
yeah,
you might look at them and say, oh, they never experienced anything negative. No, they just moved through their seasons a little quicker than you. That's it.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to a video the other day about relativity, Einstein's theory of relativity. Well, relative means that the only time there's measurement is relative to something else.
Yeah.
So if there was nothing else around you to measure against, there would be no relativity. So if you're moving through time and space and you're going at the speed of light and there's nothing to measure, are you really going the speed of light? There's nothing to compare against. So relativity just means there's only measurement when I'm comparing to something else. And that's what we do to ourselves. A comparison is, myself relative to this person over here. Well, I feel like crap. Myself relative to this person over here. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Right. Relativity is all relative. And it's whatever we interpret up here of how we're measuring based on what we think is going on. I think as Lisa Feldman Barrett said, that we feel depression when we feel like we're not measuring up to our own ideals. So even relativity within ourselves, right? I have an ideal. This is me. I'm not that. I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Right.
It should be there.
Yeah. Anxiety is doing that with other people. This is me. That's them. This is what I think they think I need to be doing. I don't measure up to that. Therefore, I'm anxious. Right.
And if you think we're talking about other people, we're talking about ourselves, because I know all three of our situations and what we've done and said. We've said those very things, right? We've self-compared about what we think we should be, or what we should have, or what we should have done,
right?
And measured ourselves too. So we're just as human as anybody else out there, potentially listening or commenting currently. We're no different than you. And I'll tell you what I do know is both of these guys, both of these twinsies, they've sat with their stuff and they've sought help from somebody, a giant that could, lots of them, that could sit with them and do exactly what they're talking about right now. They do their work, and it's hard sometimes, and it's easy sometimes, and it's freeing every time.
Well, the guy down here does that too. I've seen it. So we're all doing that kind of work, right? But the idea of measurement is stop measuring, start creating. Stop measuring your life in relation to something else, relative to something else. Start creating that life. That's where the movement. I think the transformation happens when you can really sit with yourself, like you just described, Matt, and really be with those thoughts and feelings and emotions. Be in the chrysalis. You can be in it. Turn to mush. Do what you got to do, but just be with it. Trust the process. But then there's that part of breaking out of the chrysalis, right? The breaking out into the world and creating it, because you could spend your whole life in the chrysalis. You could spend your whole life analyzing and thinking and being with the emotions and not create a damn thing in your life. Right?
Yeah. You get addicted to personal development.
Yeah.
Can I share one thing real quick too?
Of course.
Is that okay?
Of course.
Matt, this is actually a question for you. If I can share just a little bit about Matt Man, just a little teeny bit. Why I call you Matt Man. Is that okay?
Of course, go.
So Matt came through our SG program, and him and I talked, and he went through some of this, right? The feelings of doubt and self-worth and all of these things. because it's human. Like it's what's trying to get what he's explaining is truth. It's what goes on. And so he was doing some work. And from my perspective, he was feeling so small at the moment in some areas in his life, and not all of them, but some of them. And I'm like, holy crap! Can I share with you like how I see you? I don't even know if I asked permission. I just rocket fire, you know. And I'm like, you are like, my little buddy, who is also named Matt. And like, if I would have known you then, like, I would have named him Matt anyway, because like that would be an honor. But he has your same name, and we call him Matt Man because he started loving Batman and all the superheroes and stuff little boys loved, And so we started calling him Matt Man, and then I have another twin whose name is Jason. We call him J Man, and just giving him like a superhero type, acronym or name or whatever, like to make them feel like they can conquer whatever. And I'm like, dude, you are Matt freaking Smith. You are Matt Man. Like the way I see you is so far, like it is, you can do anything. I don't know what you can't do. Like, so you talking to yourself like you're this, and you can't see me putting my hand down to the floor. It's not my view. Like, I don't see you that way. Like, let's get you to see you as Matt Man. I started calling him Matt Man. So this is Matt Man. And it's all inside of you. You are already the giant. It's how it's the person doing the viewing. And you can get addicted, like you were talking about. You can get addicted to self-help and all these things because it, like getting the compliments or getting somebody to say, "Hey, look, you're Matt Man," feels good. But when you've got to actually dive in and really do the work and do it so that you can take the training wheels off and do it for yourself when it comes up, because that giant can't always be there. They can't do the doing. They can't give you the muscles, just like we've talked about.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thank you for saying that, reminding me of the journey.
Matt Man.
Oh, I love it.
Well, we spent 52 minutes here talking about the core, the root, right? And it truly is where the work goes. And so, Matt, looking at the last part of this, we got about 8 minutes here. Of once you've empowered yourself, you get into that space of neutrality, you get in that space of flow, you get in that space of letting go, you get into that space of I'm good enough where I am right now. I'm satisfied with life. And you start looking forward and you look at the unknown and abundance and vision and surrender and nurture. And these are some of the journeys that we teach here. How do you look forward when you're in an empowered state versus how you look forward when you're in a disempowered state? Does that make sense?
Yeah, good question. And the way I answer that to people when they ask a similar kind of question is, if you go into a library, so just an analogy to hopefully answer the question, and if it misses, please let me know. But if you go into a library and you've got the horror section over here, and you've got the autobiography section there, and you've got the comedy section there, and you've got the sports section over there, whichever section I'm in, I only have access to the information, the energy, the ideas that are in that space. So if I want to go create something sporty in my life, but I go into the horror section, I might get good at running, maybe, and jumping.
And kind of athlete Jason, he's freaking ripped and sprinting. He's an MMA fighter. You're like, oh shit, that went wrong.
That's it, right? Or if I want to be like a stand-up comedian, but I'm only in the autobiographies and they're talking about, the best gardener in the world. I'm not saying that gardeners aren't funny. I'm sure there are some funny gardeners in the world, but I'm going to miss the mark every time. So I've got to be aware of what section of my library I'm in. Where am I in? I've got to start there first. Before I start thinking about future and creating and where I'm going and what my next steps are, I've got to make sure I'm in the section which is highest and best Matt, future Matt, who's living his dream life. I've got to connect to that. And I've got to come from that place. because again, as a possibility with the quantum realm, that all possibilities exist all at once. There's a Matt that's living his highest and best life. There's a Matt that's living exactly as I am now in the future. And there's a Matt that's destitute in the future as well. Those exist. The one that becomes an eventuality and a reality is the one where I focus on that, and I come from that place, and I move from that place now. So
Yeah,
I have to, my job is to connect to highest and best.
Your vision comes from you, not where you're going. It's what expresses from you based on the library section that you're in. And
right? Your vision comes from you, and you come from your vision.
Right.
It's like a
thing. I can see that. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how important is surrender in that process of creating your vision as a reality? So when you move into that empowered state, and let's say that your library aligns and you're in that empowered state and you see your vision, how do you move that from idea to actuality?
So I have a mantra, which is either show me my next steps, reveal my next steps, or I can't think whether this came from the Way of Mastery. It might be the Way of Mastery, but I use the term, and when I use the word God, I'm not religious at all. I use it as higher self and source and universe. But I say, God, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to who? And I'll sit in that space. Hey, what's next? Show me the next steps. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to who? And then something will come through practice of connecting to that, and then I move.
Okay, so you don't sit around and wait and watch Netflix and hope it comes to the door like a UPS delivery or something like that. You're like,
I'll be completely honest. If that's what my next step is, if that's what's revealed, it's not, I won't intentionally go, I'm just going to kick back and do nothing. It's, I will intentionally go into a meditation. Hey, show me next steps. And next steps might be
nothing,
go
right?
Do this.
It could be nothing, right? There are times where our doing nothing was the very thing we should have been doing. And
because then that's when sometimes inspiration can really speak to you and through you.
Yeah, I love that. Let's talk about your legacy and your vision with why you're doing any of this. Why does this matter, Matt? Like, why are you out there transforming people, helping people to transform? Why are you doing the work that you're doing? What do you want to leave as a gift while you're alive and when you're gone?
I can't do anything else, man. I can't do anything else. Like, I tried to do life like myself and it didn't really work. So then I'm like, right, highest and best self or God or whatever it is, I go over to you again. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? And what would you have me say, and to who? And I move from that place. And it's like, it's not that I give my life over to God or whatever it is. I just give my life over to the life that wants to move through me. And at the moment, at this point in my life, it's help as many people as possible as you can with what you know and what you've experienced. Be who I needed for them, who I needed for me, be that for them. I've got so much in me that can help so many other people. I can't not. I can't not, because I've got so much in here that can help other people. I have to. And it hurts seeing so many people suffer when they don't need to. So there's no other why than I just have to, man.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You're doing that right now through this whole show. We've had so many comments. I couldn't even keep up with them. There's so many in there. That's what you're doing. You're doing that. I mean, it comes from you. It's essentially, it's like a star. It's like stars don't go out and find themselves and then start shining because they found themselves. And now, oh, thank God, I'm me, right? Stuff comes out from them,
just
right?
Saw a star having a conversation.
Yeah, somebody might write that book. You're welcome to it. But it's like
start with its therapist.
I get to start.
It's like, good God, if I could only be me. But when it really aligns with itself, it's like boom, right? It radiates, and that's what each of us does, is that we radiate. It comes from us, and you can't help but see it in other people, because what's going on in here is coming out of them. It's seeping out of them. Who they think they are is coming out of them. Some people are a black hole. Some people are stars. Some people are shining. They're suns. They're blue dwarfs, whatever you want to call it, right? But it comes from them. And the thing is that every one of us has the ability to shift that, right? To go from any one of those stages in any direction. And it's up to us. So what I'd love to learn or hear as we wrap up here is, what do you feel should have been shared today or could have been shared today that maybe you missed, either one of you or both of you? Like what would you like to leave as a final message here for this episode? I know we're not done forever, but for this episode.
Can I go, Ryan, or did you want to?
You go. Yes, please.
No matter what has happened in your life, no matter what anybody's ever said to you, no matter what you've done, you are so loved just for who you are. You are so loved. Like you can't even comprehend how much love is there for you, and how much whatever it is, whatever words you use, God, universe, source, whatever, wants the absolute best for you. And a gentleman called Stephen Lovegrove shared this, so I'm going to completely steal it from him and share it here, but give him all the credit for it. If you imagine a parent that has a child, but this parent has done all the work and they've healed themselves, and they just love this child unconditionally, and they want the best for this child. If you imagine that love that parent has for that child, how much they love that child, and times it by infinity, it's part of the reason why I have the infinity tattoo. If you times that love by infinity, it still wouldn't come close to how much you are loved, regardless of what you've done. And when you come from that place that you are loved no matter what, and you have that inside of you as well, life, well, it just becomes beautiful and brilliant. But that's where I would start with everybody, is just, you are loved beyond comprehension. Just for who you are, not for what you do or say or achieve or anything like that. It's so much love. So much love. Is it period? You guys say in America?
Period, the end.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Well, except when I'm speaking it into text and I say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And then I say period and it spells it out and I hit send. So it's like, "What's up, man?" Period. That doesn't work the same, right? So yeah, but going to what you're saying is that, right? And Ryan, go ahead and share your thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts too, man.
Man, I appreciate you making me laugh there, Nick, because I was gonna go into this ball of messes and I might still, because that is why Matt Smith is here right now, because I want everybody to experience Matt Smith just like that. Because he loves so deeply, and he connects with the people that he's in front of all the way across the pond. It doesn't matter where you are. Yeah, or ocean. If you're just across the pond or across the ocean, either one. Matt Smith loves people. He sees the best in them, and he helps them to see the best in them. Because he's been through the things. He's done the work and doing the work, because stuff still comes up from Matt Smith. Even though he is Matt Man, it still comes up. And he loves you, and he wants the best for you. Because he sees you. That's Matt Smith. I love these men. I love these men so much. They are powerful. They are transformative. They see you. They worry about you. They worry about themselves, because they want to be the best versions of themselves, so they can do whatever they can do to help you. That's their commitment. That's also their motivation. But they are committed, even when it's hard, to be the best versions of themselves. And they do it.
Thank you, brother. I want to ask permission here to, from our audience, especially if you just tell me yes or no to this. But Matt, you got to go through one of our SG programs, right? And Ryan got to facilitate that program. And we had conversations through that. Would it be okay to talk about your experience with that just real briefly? And it would be okay to say no.
I would just say to anybody, if it feels like the best next step for them, if it feels right for them, just do whatever you need to do to get out of the way to do it. Like when you guys offered me the space on that, because I'm so connected to what's a yes in my body and my truth versus trauma and fear, it was a no-brainer. I've just seen Steve's message. Thank you, Steve. I love you too. I would say yes. It just do it. The way you guys held space, unconditionally loving, non-judgmental space, while not letting me play in the pool of my story. Because I think sometimes I can't speak for other people and programs out there, but sometimes some modalities of healing, therapy, coaching, whatever you want to call it, allow people to just stew in their stuff. You gave me the space to share where I was at and what was going on, and also saw me as the giant as well. You acknowledged where I was, validated where I was, but then reminded me of the power and the giant and why I was where I was.
Yeah.
And I think when you tie those two together, that loving unconditional space for what's going on in the moment and reminding people of their truth, you're going to win. You're going to win.
And you got the shirt to show it. It's like going to Disneyland.
You get
right.
You get your free t-shirt. Just do it for the t-shirt. Like I ironed this t-shirt before. I was like, I got to iron the t-shirt, right? I got it out, and I was looking for the seam that usually runs down the side of t-shirts.
Yeah.
And I realized this hasn't even got a seam. This is how good this t-shirt is. There's no, it's like seam down the side of the t-shirt. I don't know if that's a standard thing in the States, but in England, we always have the seam that runs down the side.
I didn't know that. Well, no wonder you guys are so uncomfortable.
Got seams just like digging in.
Right. I would go nuts. Thank you for that. We love what we're doing here. I look at the work that we've done. We've been doing this. We started this show, man, it was 3-4 years ago, right, Ryan? I was living in my brother's basement after the divorce and started sharing my journey and just started talking, just going live and talking. And then Ryan came on and started talking with me. And then we started bringing guests on. And now we've got over 600 uploads onto the YouTube channel. There is a flood of content there. And it's all around this, Matt. Like every video we have is the best video we've ever done. It's amazing. Like, how does that happen? And it just keeps getting better and better. And it's free. The Tribe of Giants, we created that to serve our community. We don't care if you ever pay for a program. We hope you'll come through our programs because we know it will serve you. But if you never did, and all you did was come to the tribe and got our newsletter or come to the YouTube channel and you did nothing else, your life will be changed and impacted forever. And that's our commitment to you. And so thank you for being a part of our commitment to those that are on this channel. And some of these people, what do you call them? The baseball player, Ryan? They show up every episode.
Yeah.
Right. Like Steve Harrison, I don't know what you do. Like it seems like I think Steve's busy, but then he comes to just about every episode that we're on. Hugh, same thing. We see Mancherry,
Lori.
We see the same people show up every time.
Jen.
Yeah. We love you guys. So we're grateful that you're a part of this. We hope like when we talk about X being exactly where you are, you're in the right spot. You're where you're supposed to be. You're doing what you need to be doing right now. You're who you need to be right now. Trust that. And from there, create whatever comes to mind, like Matt described there. Let it come from you. Let your creations come from you. X is the spot because you are the X. It's a number that signifies anything you want it to be. X can be anything, and that's you. And so that's why we use that as a symbol of X is where you are and X is where you're supposed to be. and there is no limit to it, right? There's some symbolism in the X as well, is that at the four corners, you've got the 4 points of north, south, east, and west. On the four sides of it, you've got earth, wind, fire, water, if you want, whatever works. But we're all reaching from that point outward. And there's a lot of symbolism in that. And that's what we're trying to do as giants, is help you recognize that the giant is already within you. So lay down the little rope that you've been tagging this giant around with and let the giant do what giants do. Change your life. Be amazing. So we love you. We hope you'll join us next week as we do another episode, and any other episode we do live. Come to the event in the Tribe of Giants. If you're not a part of that, come to these little trainings, because we dive deep into the 12 journeys, right? And what I know about it is we'll serve you. So that's a little bit of a rant. Ryan, anything else we need to share before we wrap up?
Just that if you did nothing else and watched this episode, this was the only piece of content left on the planet. It would serve you, and you could do what it would serve you to be the best version of yourself, because there was so much in here that was shared from Matt Smith on how to transform you.
Yeah. Thank you, Giants. We love you. Go make it a giant day. We will see you in the next episode.
Love you too.